हरो मारे मारी देश रे केसरिया बालम।
मैं सुनीता जी से आग्रह करूंगा कृपया मंच पर आएं। आप मॉनसून पे अपनी बात रखेंगी।
When we talk about the Indian monsoon, I keep saying, and I'll repeat it once again, that Mr. Jaitley is not the finance minister of India. The only finance minister of India, the true finance minister of India, is the Indian monsoon. And all of us, and Dr. Rajivan will speak after me, all of us know that when the monsoon season comes, it is almost as if every Indian, from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, from Gujarat to Nagaland, all of us, our breath is enjoined. We all wait to exhale. When the monsoon moves, and every time it stops, it is almost as if the nation stops breathing, because it means so much to us. But if you think about it, and this is important for us because the science of monsoon also tells us nature's way. It's a very small temperature difference through which nature carries over 40,000 billion tons of water from ocean to land. And this nature's way is different from our way because nature uses weak forces rather than concentrated forces. Weak force is solar energy. Weak force is rainwater harvesting. Concentrated energy is oil, gas. It is water concentrated in dams. So in many ways, what nature tells us is mimic me, because then you will learn my ways, which is using the weak forces to make such a huge difference in the world. But the question that we all need to ask is, how much do we know about the monsoons? How much do we know about its science? How much do we know about the changing character of the monsoons? And most importantly, can any one of you actually name a monsoon scientist to me? You can name a rocket scientist, you can name a nuclear scientist, but you cannot name a monsoon scientist. Because this real, true finance minister of India is something we really don't care about. And this is today, therefore, our tragedy. We cry when it does not rain. We also cry when it does rain. Because we go from a cycle of crippling drought to back-breaking flood. And remember, this is a double whammy. On one hand, we have the deliberate mismanagement of our water resources. We are destroying our water bodies. We are building over lakes and ponds. We are building houses where there should have been places for water. We are destroying our ability to live with both the scarcity and the excess of water. And on the other hand, we have a changing character of rainfall. So we must know this change that is happening in our world. Firstly, we must know that the monsoon is India's most globalized Indian. We talk about us middle-class Indians as being very globalized, very westernized. But what we don't understand is actually the monsoon is the most globalized Indian. It is connected to ocean currents and winds from Pacific, Arctic, and Tibetan Plateau. Everything that happens around it in the globe affects and determines the monsoon. But it is also the most understudied, complex, confounding, and capricious phenomena. And now, and this really is something that should worry us even more, climate change is making it even more variable and even more extreme. So we need to know this better. We need to know the monsoon better. In this, we have explained, and it is in our magazine, how everything in the world impacts the monsoon. We already know it is difficult to predict. Dr. Rajivan knows this more than anyone else. The effort that is being made to improve our forecasting, our no-casting of the monsoon, it is difficult to predict. But now it has become even more variable, even more extreme. Weird weather has become the new normal. Today, if you were to define the new normal, you would say it is weird. Why? Because you get unseasonal rain, you get abnormally high rain that comes in short periods. Remember, in India, it rains only 100 hours in a year. 100 hours in a year. Out of some 8,500 hours, on an average, it rains for 100 hours in a year. And now, with climate change, and this is what the science of climate change is telling us, this will become more, monsoon will become more extreme, which means we will get more rain, but in fewer number of rainy days. And when it rains for only 100 hours on an average, just imagine what the future looks like. And this is why the flood of 2016, you are sitting at a time when this country has seen the worst floods across India, across the states. But this is a unique flood. This is the first flood of India which has come at the time of drought. Many states of India where there is flood and huge floods still are reporting below normal rainfall. And this is what we have tried to understand through all our reportage and Down to Earth. We have tried to understand how this weather is becoming more weird, more variable, and more devastating. And what does it do to our farmers? I said right at the beginning, this is the finance minister. So what you are seeing in this country is an agrarian crisis like never before. When we put down data and we said, in 2013, we found that there were 5 states affected, some 35.35 million hectares of crops affected by what was called freak weather, hailstorms, unseasonal rain. In 2014, it moved up to 6 states and jumped to 5.5 million hectares. In 2015, 15 states, and now 18.23 million hectares, and this is only growing. This unseasonal rain is only increasing. And this is the real face of the Indian farmer today: grief, despair, desperation. But more than that, what is happening to us is that we are growing from a crippling drought to a deluge. So in May, Down to Earth put together a detailed cover story on the drought across India. And as early as August, we have put together another cover story of the deluge across India. And what we find is that most of the floods of 2016 were preceded by extreme rain events. Most floods this year have happened because IMD has reported that rainfall has been 1,000 times above normal, 1,015 times above normal. Rain has come in 24 hours, enough that would come in a whole year. And this is the unprecedented nature of the flood that you are seeing today. And this change will destroy us unless, and this is why this conversation is important, unless we learn and we learn fast, unless we become water and waste wise, we deliberately plan for every drop of water, we stop seeing land for buildings, we see land for water. We harvest rain everywhere in every possible way. We recycle and reuse every drop. Quite simply, water must become our biggest national obsession. Saving water, managing water, living with both the excess of water as well as the scarcity of water has to become our biggest national obsession. But finally, this can only happen if we learn the science of monsoon, if we celebrate the scientists of monsoon, and we calibrate our response to changes. My colleague and Dr. Rajivan will take off from where I've left to talk about that very elusive monsoon that we need to know more about. Thank you very much.